What's cracking, Jack? It's Sunday, November 2nd, and you're in the jungle. 8 games in the association tonight. We're going to break them all down and make some money right here, right now. Greetings, everybody. Welcome back to the show, and if you're joining us for the first time, welcome to the jungle. We're going to break down all 8 games in the NBA for Sunday, November 2nd. I know it's a football day to most of you, but there's money to be made in basketball as well. In fact, I think NBA is the most profitable sport if you know what you're doing. I'm going to leave for you 2 links in the comments section. The first link is to my $5 favorite play of the day. And for just $5 and no further obligation, you get my best bet for Sunday in the NBA text to your phone. Yesterday's play was Cade Cunningham over 8.5 assists. He ended up with 18. Congratulations to all who purchased and tailed. We've now hit 7 of our last 8 $5 favorites in the NBA. The second link is to become a Jungle member, and for as little as 55 cents a day as a member, you get my full betting card sent to your phone every single morning. Everything that I personally bet on in every sport gets delivered right to you. You also get access to our members-only Discord and a direct line to me if you'd like me to opine on any other bet that you are considering placing. We have a free weekly trial. Take it for a test spin and see if it's for you. Today's video is brought to you by Outlier.bet, the top name in sports betting research, and by Red Lobster. Free meals to anyone who was actually alive that the New York Jets were relevant. Our journey begins in Oklahoma City with the Pelicans taking on the Thunder. New Orleans plus 12.5 over-under is set at 229.5. Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams out for the Thunder. OKC's undefeated with a point differential of plus 9.4 a game. New Orleans is winless with a point differential of minus 15.6 a game. The only side that makes sense here is OKC. It's a big number, but the Pelicans have lost by this number in 3 of their 5 games. The best bet in this game, however, is Zion over 20.5 points. I don't know why the line is so low. I've tried to figure it out, and I can't. He doesn't have an injury designation. He's got a median of 27 points a game. He's playing 33 minutes, taking 18 shots and 13 free throws. Zion had 29 points last game against the Clippers, who don't allow big scoring days, and he had an injury designation in that game. He played the Thunder 1 game last year, and they held him in check for the most part. That's the only reason I could think of. But we're not going to overthink this. We're taking Zion over 20.5 points against the Thunder. Philadelphia at the Nets. Philly's minus 5.5. The over-under is set at 234.5. Philly's 4-1. Brooklyn's 0-5. The line appears short on the surface because of the 2 teams' records, but then you look closer. Philly's won all close games except for 1. They only covered this number of 5.5 one time, but Brooklyn has only stayed within this number of 5.5 once in 5 games. The Sixers are without Joel Embiid, but honestly, I think they play better without him. I've watched every minute of every 76ers game this year, and outside statistics, this is with the eyeball test. Joel Embiid slows them down. He demands touches, slows down the offense, and forces 3-pointers while passing up opportunities to get the ball to open teammates. I'd lay the 5.5 with Philly, and I'd also consider Tyrese Maxey over 28.5 points. Memphis at Toronto. Toronto minus 5.5. The over-under is set at 238.5. John Morant is out for Memphis. I like the over in this game. Neither team plays a lick of defense. Memphis gives up 124 points a game, which is 6th most in the NBA. Toronto gives up 123.3, which is 7th. Toronto had 2 games going into the 260s so far this year. Memphis has had 1 game in the 260s and 1 in the 250s. These 2 teams played twice last season against one another, and both those games went well over the total. Take the over 238.5 in Memphis. Toronto. Atlanta at Cleveland. Hawks plus 6.5. Over-under is at 229.5. Trae Young is out for Atlanta. Donovan Mitchell, Sam Merrill, Jared Allen, all questionable in game-time decisions for Cleveland. This is a game where I can't advise you until I have the information on 3 starters for Cleveland who may or may not be in. What I will say, though, is if these guys don't play or aren't 100%, look to the over for Evan Mobley's offensive props before these players are listed as definitively out. So look at Evan Mobley as soon as you can, and I look to his over props. Utah at Charlotte. Jazz are plus 1.5. Over-under is set at 238.5. Charlotte gives up 124 points a game. I like this lineup for Utah a lot with the big lineup. They're number 1 in the NBA in offensive rebounding, number 1 in second chance points. I like the Jazz plus the 1.5, and I'd also consider Keontae George of the Jazz over 7.5 assists. He's been over this line every single game so far this season. Chicago at the Knicks. Chicago plus 7.5. The over-under is set at 236.5. These two teams played in Chicago just Friday. Bulls won by 10. Now they turn around 2 days later, and the Knicks are favored by 7.5 after losing by 10 because of the venue change. And also, if you look into the box score of that game, it shows you that the Knicks shot on the low end of their capabilities percentage-wise, and the Bulls shot to the higher end of theirs. But I think the adjustment's too much. I think the Bulls cover this number of 7.5. Chicago's 5-0 in this season, and they've covered the spread in 80% of their games. The Knicks have covered the spread just 30% of their games. This tells me the books have not yet adjusted to the performance of each team so far this season. We're 5 games in, not 60, but we're not 2 games in, so there's a bit of reasonable thinking to assume that Chicago is going to be pretty good. I'd take the Bulls plus the 7.5. I'd also look at Jalen Brunson over 26.5 points. He's in the top 5 in scoring, top 5 in field goal attempts, and he's going to look to show out after the Bulls just beat him in Chicago Friday night. Spurs at the Suns, San Antonio. Minus 5.5. The over-under is set at 227.5. San Antonio's a real deal, man. They're 5-0. They have a point differential of plus 14.5. Plus 14.4, which is the best in the NBA, and they give up fewer points than any team in the association. I think they cover the number of 5.5 on the road in Phoenix against the Suns team. That's negative point differential of minus 4.7. I'd also look at Stephon Castle over 17.5 points for San Antonio. In the last game we're looking at, Miami at the Lakers. Miami plus 5.5. The over-under is at 233.5. Norman Powell for the Heat is questionable, which does make a difference. He didn't participate in Saturday's practice, which leads me to believe he's probably not going to play today. I could be wrong, but we're dealing with a groin injury. They tend to be overly cautious, and Miami also plays again Monday. So my guess is they're going to rest him today, and if he does play, it'd be on the second end of the back-to-back. But I like the Heat plus the 5.5 still. Miami's another team the books have not yet caught up to the way they're playing this season. They covered the spread in 4 out of their 5 games. The only time they didn't cover the spread was against San Antonio. In San Antonio, the spread was 5.5, the same as this game, and they lost by just 6. I value the Spurs much higher than I do this Lakers team. The Lakers are another logo team like the Knicks that are overvalued by the books because they know the public is going to bet them no matter what. They're going to bet the Lakers, they're going to bet the Knicks, they bet the logo, and they bet the teams that they're fans of. Like I said, the Knicks have covered in just 30% of their games this season. The Lakers have covered in just 33% of theirs. Again, they overvalue them because they know people will bet them anyways. 5.5 is too many to give this Miami Heat team, even without Norman Powell, that has the best point differential in the East of plus 11.4. Take Miami on the road with the points. Let's have a day, Jungle Nation, and I'll see you next time with a little more money in your pocket.